Welcome, players of life. Many times we think that evil is only terrible crimes, but in reality, it begins with small things that grow over time. Today we will go through the 7 levels of human evil, from the most innocent selfishness to total dehumanization. Remember, every human being is born with light, but if that light goes out, the shadow begins to grow. Knowing this dark map is not to scare you, but to open your eyes and recognize where we stand as humanity. Evil begins in the simplest thing: selfishness. That thought that says, me first, which seems normal, but when uncontrolled, it becomes the seed of something greater. A child who doesn't want to share his toy, that is not bad in itself, but if he never learns to look at others, he will grow believing everything belongs to him. In adults, it is seen in those who only think of their own benefit, even if it harms others. Selfishness is the first shadow of humanity. After selfishness comes manipulation. Here is not just thinking of oneself, but using lies and deception to get what one desires. Someone who pretends to be kind just to take advantage, or a partner who controls with emotional blackmail. On a larger scale, we see it in politicians who manipulate masses with false speeches. Manipulation is dangerous because it seems invincible, and many fall without realizing it. At this level, the person no longer just manipulates, but enjoys having power over others. Here, a psychopathic trait is born: the pleasure of humiliating, of breaking someone else's self-esteem. The bully at school who doesn't stop until he sees his victim cry. Or a boss who enjoys making employees feel small. Emotional abuse leaves invisible but deep scars. It is a darker step toward dehumanization. When the words are no longer enough, direct violence appears: physical mistreatment, cruelty toward animals or people, domestic violence, parents beating their children with hate, or individuals who harm animals for fun. Here, it's no longer about controlling with the mind, but imposing pain with the body. Physical abuse breaks empathy and normalizes the idea that the strong can destroy the weak. At this level, psychopathy appears. There's no real empathy anymore. The suffering of others doesn't matter. It might even bring pleasure. Criminals who kill in cold blood, scammers who destroy families without remorse, or leaders who send thousands to death as if they were chess pieces. The psychopath sees people as objects, no compassion, only convenience. This is a critical level because here, Evil no longer hides, it becomes identity. At this level, evil stops being individual. It becomes collective. When several psychopaths or corrupt people unite, they create systems that justify the suffering of thousands. Mafias that could burn entire territories with violence, governments that exploit poor communities, corporations that destroy nature without remorse. Here, evil is no longer just a personal choice, but a collective monster, a place where injustice rules. This is the darkest abyss, the point where the other is no longer seen as human. Psychopaths, dictators, traffickers, abusers, genocides, concentration camps, inhuman experiments, cannibals, serial killers. Here, compassion disappears, and life loses its value. Dehumanization is the most dangerous level because it turns cruelty into routine and makes many obey without questioning. Evil does not appear suddenly. We're all born with a pure and kind soul. But aside from the past experiences and these life wounds, if you do not control evil and become aware of it, it rises level by level. It begins with selfishness and ends with dehumanization. But recognizing this dark map gives us a power. The power to stop, to choose differently, and not to fall into those levels. Because just as evil grows, so can the light. And it depends on each of us to decide on which side of the history we want to stand. If you plant evil and lies, you will only reap chains that bind you to the pain and suffering. And one day, sooner or later, you will experience it yourself. But if you choose to plant truth and kindness, you will open paths of peace and build a bridge toward a better future filled with peace and love. And remember, game start!
Just a nameless face, every day unseen, hiding in the shadows of the world.